What is going on, everyone? How are you all doing? This is Yixit at Magna Crypto, back again with another video. In today's video, it is going to be a long one, so sit down, have a coffee, and let's break down this market. Before we get started, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel and join me on my journey to 1k subs. Also, if you want to enroll to my course and learn the fundamentals of crypto completely free, link for that is in the description. And if you want to join my private Telegram group, link for that is also in the description. With that out of the way, let's get straight into the market. We've got quite a long video. So as I said, sit down, relax, get your coffee ready, and let's break this down. So if you've been following my breakdowns, I was of the impression that there were still further corrections to be had. This has now been disproven. As you can see, it's recovered very well, and it was only 1 week of correction. I would prefer it actually to have more correction, because that would have been better in the sense that when there's more correction, more liquidity can be obtained, and thus more people would have been in the market. There would have been basically more of a chance of a stronger rally to the upside, in my humble opinion. However, it's still a win-win. I mean, you know, we've made new highs, we can't really complain, can we? So now it's looking to close past previous resistance at 57,500. What I would like to see is, of course, to close above this, potentially to retest previous high as support. Now, there seems to be somewhat of a correction, some profit taking. I do think if it touches that, it'll be fantastic. Either way, there's a good chance that Bitcoin can continue to rally and make new highs, potentially towards 65 plus. I think that's very possible. As I said, even though there was only 1 week of correction, I think this rally can go quite far. Again, if you've been following my previous videos, so what I saw was also a measured move up sort of pattern. So essentially, if you measure this move and then you have a correction and then you copy and paste that move here, that's called a measured move up. So it's just two rallies with a correction in the middle. I believe potentially this could be a third measured move up. So again, let's just, you know, draw a line. You have a line here. You have the correction, you have a line of equal magnitude up, correction, and this is where I plotted the third rally. So potentially we could go up to close to 70,000. I think conservatively 65, 64. You know, often you can just half that projection to get more of a accurate measurement. So that's what I see for Bitcoin going forward. The key thing is to not close below this previous high of 57,500. or 600, so let's watch out for that one. Moving over to Ethereum. Now Ethereum is looking quite bullish as well. It's pretty much copying Bitcoin, however it's just lagging behind a bit. So it done very well. Before, what I mentioned was you could potentially consolidate in this area. If it rejects from the previous high, it has touched the previous high, but now you can see is getting closer and closer. So what would be nice, the bullish case would be, of course, to carry on ascending. On the daily, you can see it looks a lot more bullish. You can see the trend is clearly up and it wants to break this previous high. The key is to remain above this small high over here. If it uses this as support, which it's doing right now, then it will have enough juice to just break through, and then it'll be in price discovery. Now what could happen is for it to break through, test previous high, and carry on. So it's very close. You can see it's looking very, very bullish for it to break that previous high. So let's see. The only thing potentially what I can imagine is for Monday, the start of the next week, or Monday, Tuesday, for it to be slight dip and then break through. But it's looking very, very bullish, so it's imminent that will break out if it carries on this momentum. So let's head over to the altcoins. Now, Ocean Protocol is looking bullish in my opinion. So I drew this Fibonacci when these two highs and lows were made. It's respecting that beautifully, as you can see. Tapped that 618 level, rejected, and now you've got this candle here which is looking like a pause in between the rally. So it's also tested the previous high as resistance into support. This is a very bullish indication. If it can hold this area, then I think we can definitely see 181 to $2 being hit. From that point on, we'll have to reassess, but it's looking bullish. This candle's often somewhat of like a pause. You're probably going to see this more in this breakdown, but this right here, you can see is equal amount of sell side pressure and buy side pressure. So it's looking like if it holds this, that it wants to continue on. It's found some liquidity, wants to continue on to the upside towards 161, 81, and then $2. So if we move to the daily, you can see again a bit more clarity that it's retested that previous high of 126. It's tapped that, and now it needs to just, as you can see, it's in a bit of a limbo situation. It's tapped that, and now it wants to go past that previous high of 148. So it just needs a little bit of a push for it to carry on to the upside. So for me, in my opinion, I'm on the bullish side. I think it will go to the upside towards 181, as I said, and then $2. And then beyond, of course, but we'll have to assess once we hit these targets from that point on. Next, we'll have a look at RSR. So RSR is looking very bullish. Lovely uptrend right here. I drew this trend line in between a lot of the highs and lows. This is essentially a left-leaning bullish trajectory, as you can see. As long as it stays on the left side of this trend line, the bulls are in control. You can see here it dipped below that, picked up a load of liquidity and carried on. So as long as it stays on this side of the trend line, I think bulls are in control. If it drops below this, then either it's going to be a quick pickup from like this, or it could start to really correct. So from this point, initially here, you can see here, massive wick to the downside, picked up a load of liquidity, and it's pumped since then. Similar situation as Ocean. You can see this candle, a bit of indecision, but it's often a pause between this rally and the next. So I can really see this push on towards the next major level of 10 cents. That's going to be my target for RSR. As I said, as long as it remains on the left side of this trend line, which I've drawn in between a lot of the highs and lows. If it does break below this, then support I think would be at around 4 cents, or potentially at this level of 5 cents. These two levels, as you can see, clear low and previous resistance, which would be support. Those would be my support targets. But in terms of the next upside target, as I mentioned, would be 10 cents. AGI token, Singularity Net. I've mentioned this quite a long time ago. One of my small cap coins, one of these gems that's done very, very well. Mentioned this, as I said, a long time ago. You know, since I mentioned it, it's done a good 4-5x, you know, almost 6x. So it's done fantastic. I think there's still some juice left to squeeze out of this coin. As you can see, this correction, massive wick to the downside, huge demand for this. I think as long as it stays above this high, then it could easily do 30 cents, and then the next target would be 45 cents. On the bearish side, if it doesn't hold that, then it could, you know, there's not much support here apart from this level. It would drop all the way down to 10-11 cents. Now this is a small cap, so there's a possibility of that, but at the moment the momentum is definitely on the bullish side. If it can break this high of 30 cents, I really do think it can push up to 45 cents, potentially 50. Even today you can see it's up 12%. It's doing very, very well. I've got high hopes for Singularity Net. So at the moment, just to repeat, you know, the momentum is definitely on the bullish side, especially when you've got a massive wick like this, picking up a load of liquidity. You know, this shows that there's a lot of buy side pressure. Just needs to get past, one, this previous high, and then two, this wick over here. You know, people taking profits clearly. After if it gets past 31 cents and it heads towards 45, you know, I do think there's going to be more profit taking. So, you know, if you are holding this, maybe, you know, take a little bit cream off the top. So over to MATIC. I just want to play this short clip from my previous video regarding MATIC. Was it? I keep getting it wrong, I think. But MATIC or Polygon. Reason being is just to kind of go over the power of the Fibonacci, the accuracy of it. Now, of course, it's not 100%. There's no such thing, but it's a good way to plot targets. Profits at an important level, 25 cents, and potentially now we're going to see a move to the upside up to about 30 cents and potentially beyond. I would say that's more of the likely outcome. However, looking at it now, you know, let's just look at this Fibonacci. Of course, I've got it here, but, you know, I like to give some evidence when the predictions come to fruition. So you can see here the 27, the 618, and the 786 up to 33 cents. And if you look here, 33 cents hit perfectly. The 0.278 acting as support before carrying on. So the Fibonacci really is a great tool to use when plotting levels. However, now that it's even exceeded these targets and gone well above, you can see here there's some sell side pressure here, pushing it to the downside. Clearly, people are taking profits quite a lot. I think there's still good momentum with MATIC or Polygon, especially with the way the market's looking very bullish. However, I think there might be some more correction or profit taking before it turns around and goes back up. Potentially this level where the wick ended, the 786, could be where support is found, or it could go down to the previous high of around 30 cents. It's a possibility. At the moment, what we can see is it hasn't found any support just yet. So when it does find support, that's when, of course, we can start to look back to the upside. But I think there may be some more profit taking for Polygon MATIC. Medium term, though, of course, very bullish on this project. Over to HBAR, Hedera hash graph. I mean, first I want to mention what beautiful accumulation right here. It looks like a double bottom and accumulation from this level. Absolute explosive move to the upside, 10, 11x. So whoever bought into this project, well done. What I can see now from this level is it's still in a bullish momentum, so it's still strong momentum. However, even from this level, after the correction, you know, it's gone up 326%. I still think this bullish side, this bullish momentum with it. However, I think there's more probability of a correction than further upside. Now, of course, the next major level is 45 cents, so there's a good possibility that it can carry on towards that level, especially with this kind of momentum. But as I've said, you know, there's more chance of downside than there is upside. So I think in terms of TA, you know, I think just to be patient and see how far it can go before it shows any sign of rejection. The next level I would be looking at is 45 to 50 cents. That's what I'll say with Hedera hash graph. Once we see some kind of major rejection, then we can see where it would correct to. In terms of support, there isn't much you can see from these levels, but a lot of these wicks ended up in this level, and that would be about 25 cents. And that's also a major key level. So if it does start to correct, I would look at 25 cents. If that doesn't hold, which makes sense as well because there isn't anything to go off of, there's no lows or anything like that, the next level would be, firstly, would be 15 cents and then down to 11, 12 cents. Next, we will look at fetch.ai, another coin I've covered previously. It's done enormously well. From the bottom, it's a good 15x. Now, if you bought in, congratulations. I only put a small bag into this, so my profits, although 15x, I only put a small bag. Do I wish I would have put in more? Perhaps, but you know, there's plenty of opportunities in this market. There's plenty more gains to be made, so there's no need to dwell on any lost profits. So what I see with fetch.ai, very close to a major level, and that's $1. There's already been a little bit of profit taken at this level, but similar to Hedera Hashgraph, there isn't much of a rejection at these levels, so the momentum is still on the bullish side. Having said that, after breaking out of this massive rounding pattern, it's already gone up quite a lot, 600 to 700% in this move. So there's more possibility that there's going to be a correction very shortly. There could perhaps be a pump towards $1 and then a correction, or the correction could be very, very soon. When it does correct, I think support will be around 33 cents. If not that, then there's a clear a low and a high at 29 or 30 cents down to 25 cents. Now, this is a small cap coin, so it will be very easy for it to lose a lot of its gains. So similar to what I said in previous coin, if you've invested in this, maybe take some cream off of that top. Next, we're going to cover Mana. So Mana, similar to the other small caps, insane gains from this level. Only about 2 months ago, it's gone up 13x, which is absolutely insane. This, you can see there's a pattern repeating here. So massive gains and definitely bullish momentum. So there's possibility for further upside. The next major key level I can see, apart from 125, would be 145 and potentially 150. So it could potentially push up towards those levels. However, there's more possibility that there's a correction coming rather than more upside. So in terms of a correction, there's no real support or resistance unless you go back to 23 cents or 30 cents, this level over here basically. Apart from that, there's no clear support or resistance. We could perhaps look at 50 cents as it is a key level. 50 cents, people, when they take profits, they could look at 50 cents as a level where, okay, now it's cheap again, let's buy back in. So that could be level. However, as I've said, there's strong momentum with this. The bulls are definitely in control, so it could easily rocket up to 150 and even beyond. I don't know the market cap of this coin. If it is a small cap coin, then it could easily do another 50% or more. So you got to be wary with this. But as it's gone up quite a lot already, you know, to take some cream off of that top would be a wise move. The next major level would be 145 to 150. So let's see how far it can go. As I've said, there isn't any sign of a slowdown, so who knows how far it can go. If you look at the previous day, it did start selling off at this level of 117, but you can still see that's pushing on higher. So in my opinion, I think it's going to blow past this. As I said, the next level would be 145 to 150. Next, we have ALGRORAND. So contrary to some of the other small cap coins, you can see this is just finishing up its correction and looking to rally. Also, you can see these wicks over here showing there's a decent amount of buy side pressure pushing it up. So this is looking like a good trade setup for now if you want to make some profits. Obviously not financial advice. So after it found support at these levels, previous high, it's going to the upside. So targets for ALGRORAND are quite easy. Previous high at 154 or 150. Then the wick at 192 towards $2. If it rockets past this, so this leg up, potentially it could be a measured move up. You can see here. So if we copy that, we could have a situation where it goes towards 250 and above. Half of that would be, that's a $1.50 move, so potentially 75 cents. So a conservative target would be, as I mentioned before, around 192 towards $2. The far end of the target could be closer to 250 towards $3, the previous all-time high. So I think this, out of the ones we've covered, looks like the best setup. As I said, not financial advice, but that's what it looks like. Next, we will cover crypto.com chain. So this one looks quite interesting. So it's at a previous high. It's just broken past that, but we have some sell side pressure. There's a possibility that if it doesn't remain above this and there's enough sell side pressure to push it down, that it could end up going below this previous high, down to support at 14 or 15 cents, and then towards 13 cents. If it remains above this previous high of around 17 to 18 cents, then it could potentially push up higher towards the previous high of 26 cents. If we look at it from the daily perspective, you can see it's finding some support at that previous high, this right here at 18 cents. If it holds this, then it could for sure try to attack the high of 22, 23 cents and then beyond. So it's in a bit of a limbo situation, make or break. So let's see what it does. So last, we're going to cover REN. So REN is looking good. It's looking bullish in my opinion. What it looks like is potentially an ascending triangle situation. It got rejected from the previous high, but it's still in a ascending trend. If we move to the daily, we can see that it's creating some higher lows. Now it's not a strong ascending triangle, but it's heading in the upwards direction. It's an uptrend. If it can get past this high of 134 and maintain this trend line, then for sure it can attack the next high of 173, and then potentially it would be more of a larger ascending triangle. Well, actually it's not really an ascending triangle, but it's an uptrend as you can see. So the first thing I would want to see is for it to break this high 133.34. Then it will be in the next area, the next consolidation period, and if it's able to maintain this as support, then we could see the next target of 170, 171 being reached. From that point on, we can start to see a clearer picture of if it wants to break that and make new highs. But overall, it's in a good trend. From the weekly, it looks similar to ALGRORAND in that it's corrected and now it's finding some buy side demand. It's picking up a load of liquidity. This massive rejection is a little bit concerning, but I think in the next week we'll see a clearer picture. Personally, in my opinion, it looks like the bulls are more in control than the bears, but of course we need to make sure that it does not close below this trend line. If it does close below, if it actually breaks below this, then I think it may start tumbling down towards 63 cents. There isn't much sign of support on the weekly time frame. Let's see if there's any on the daily. Potentially 74, 75 cents. We can see on the daily. This trend line is the key support at the moment. So let's see how it unfolds in the next week. So that'll be all for this week. Hope you got some value from that. It's looking like next week is going to be a very exciting week. Bitcoin has finally broken, past the previous high, and the correction seems to be over. But of course, let's always keep an open mind. If you haven't taken any profits, make sure to skim a little bit off, because you never know what's going to happen. So that'll be all for this week, and see you in the next one. Peace.